Hi everyone, my name is Patrick and I'm the director of the Rights Evaluation Studio, an independent consultancy looking at evaluation in litigation, advocacy, and other complex settings. I've been working with the Digital Freedom Fund for a number of years to help develop and iterate a framework and approach to impact assessment for the digital rights field. We've made this three-part webinar series to give you an overview of the methodology, which underpins the framework that we developed, the framework itself, and also how you can use and apply this framework in your own work. We hope you enjoy these webinars and I hope you find them useful. Welcome to the third and final webinar in our impact monitoring series. In session 1, we went over the outcomes harvesting methodology, which structures our framework. In session 2, we introduced the thematic framework and the evidence principles which guide our impact monitoring work. In this last session, we'll explain how we use some of these tools in our work and how you can start to think about applying them in your own work. Here's an example of a template that you can use to start applying this methodology. This template is actually embedded into DFF's reporting templates and is what we use to create DFF's data bank of outcomes. So you can see it asks for the outcome statements, the evidence that you have to support that statement, and then asks for the limitations, which is referring to the limitations to the evidence rather than limitations to the outcome. It also asks about who else contributed to that outcome, as well as the outcome direction. So here it's a drop-down which asks whether it advances digital rights, whether it restricts digital rights, or whether it's a neutral outcome. And then finally, there's the outcome group, which is also a drop-down, which refers to the thematic framework that we went through in the previous webinar. We also start to categorize things behind the scenes, looking at the level of the outcome, whether it's an individual, organizational, regional, national level outcome. And that way it helps us with the analysis of the overall database of outcomes. So now I'd like to share some examples of the types of outcomes that we've captured so far in the process. We can't share specific examples for confidentiality reasons, but this should give you a flavor of the types of outcomes that we've been able to capture so far. So we've had some to do with obtaining judgments and changes in law and policy, some to do with changes in public engagement from the media or from the public, as well as some changes to do with coordination and actions between NGOs and others in the field. So imagine you've gone through the process of developing these outcome statements and you have a outcomes bank. What you can start to do is start to visualize some of this information and categorize it into different topics and themes to help understand and make sense of that information. Whilst the qualitative information is probably the most interesting and most useful from outcome harvesting, looking at it in this way can start to help you just make sense and start to help prompt some reflection and discussion on some of the outcomes that you've identified. And again, here with that same data, but we've organized it by the level of change, whether it's at the institutional or organizational level, whether it's national or regional level changes. So that's the end of this very short webinar, just to help illustrate how this information can be used. Again, I would encourage you to read the full framework documents that are on DFF's website. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, please feel free to reach out to DFF directly, or you can also reach me on patrick@rightsevaluation.studio.